Right, Valiant, jeez. Welcome back to Ever Disney Movie Ever. My name is Jess and I'm watching Ever Disney Movie Ever. Today I'm going to talk about Valiant. Valiant is a 2005 animated theatrical release. It's directed by Gary Chapman, cinematography by John Fenner. Lead animators include Quentin, Miles, Tony, Thorne, and Ray Van Steenwyk. Editing by Tiffany, Hillkurtz, and Jim Stewart. Music by George Fenton, and it's written by Jordan Katz, George Webster, and George Melrod. The film stars Ewan McGregor as Valiant, Ricky Gervais as Bugsy, and Tim Curry as Von Talon. Are there others that could be considered stars? I suppose, but not really. They made this in the UK, which made it the second CGI animated film to be made in the UK ever. It had 179 modelers, texturers, animators. It took 106 weeks to make. Had a very tight budget of $35 million. It made $61.7 million at the box office. It held the record for the worst performing CGI animated film until Dougal in 2006. It has a really stacked cast, but I don't think that could save it. It has a 32% Rotten Tomatoes, and it says, voice talent is fantastic, but it's a paint-by-numbers story. It's not great. It's kind of got that, like, creepy animation vibe of those, like, knockoff, low-budget animation movies. It's not as terrible as, like, if anyone's watched the Curtis Connor video on the Goat Story or the Goat, whatever Goat movie that is. It's definitely not as bad as that, but it has that vibe of just not the best animation. And this is the only place I feel to talk about this, but every single female bird character in this movie is extremely sexualized. Even the mouse, the female mouse, her name is the girl, because she's French, and she's kind of sexualized because, Bugsy, like, hits on her, and that's gross. But, like, Victoria is, like, so sexualized. And then there's a couple other, like, female, but there's barely any women in this movie. But there's a couple other female birds that are just, like, so sexualized. And I don't understand it. Like, there's nothing wrong with sexuality and sensuality and all that kind of stuff, obviously. But, like, where in the world is just overtly sexualizing female birds in this movie coming from? Like, it was not funny. Like, they had so many, just, I don't know why they were like that. And it just felt like this was the only place to talk about it because it was a big visual thing. It was also a writing thing, but it was a big visual thing. And I was like, why did we do this? I don't understand. This is terribly written. The dialogue is painful to listen to. It's just so, that criticism of it being paint by numbers, that is the perfect way to describe this. It's like they took any other, like, underdog kid with a dream, you know, story and just made it about birds. Like, it was so terribly written, especially the dialogue. It was painful to listen to. And then the comedy in this, listen, I'm all for, like, adult leaned jokes in children's movies, but I hate when the adult jokes in children's movies are just sex jokes or sexual jokes. That, you don't have to do that. There are adult jokes you can make that have nothing to do with sex or are sexual that are hilarious. That can be in kids' movies. The best kind of joke, though, in my opinion, is a joke that is funny to any and every age. A joke that kids will get, a joke that adults will get, that is truly funny. Where this is just, it felt gross. Like, I can deal with a sex joke here and there in a children's movie and be like, oh wow, that went over my head when I was little. Dang, like, that's really funny. But this was just, like, blatant. Like, I think kids would understand. Which, whatever. But, like, it was gross. There was no need for, like, 98% of the sexual jokes that were in this. Bugsy like humping the air. There was a fart joke that was so bizarre. The Victoria, like, probing Valiant in the nurse situation, like, there were just so many icky sex jokes that I was like, these are not well placed. This is not like, haha, the kids won't get these, only the adults will get these. No, it was like, what are we doing here? Like, that's not funny. It's gross. In my opinion, some people might think it's really funny, but I just didn't think they were well placed. I thought they, like, You know, it's like Herbie's boner joke with the antenna. You know, there was stuff like that. Like, it's just, ugh. Guys, it turns out you could have every single male British elite actor in a movie, and it could still be absolute trash. This John Cleese, John Hurt, Hugh Laurie, Ewan McGregor, Tim Curry, Jim Broadbent, like, the absolute stacked cast of this movie couldn't save it. I'm, like, shocked at how many British male royalty people there were in this. And it just is still a dumpster fire. My first note that I wrote down is, what even is this? Which I feel like is just my overall sentiment. What even is this? This is terrible. Like, I don't even know how to save this. Make a different movie, is how I feel. Tackle something that you could, like, the animation would sell better. Have a more fleshed out, thorough story. I, like, am so curious what all of these, like, British royalty men think of this movie in their career, because Ewan McGregor is Obi-Wan Kenobi. He's Christopher Robin. He's, like, homeboy's out here just doing the best and is a really great actor. And this, I'm like, what are you doing in this? Oh my God. Done so dirty. Every actor in this was done so dirty. I feel so bad for them. But this was just bad. It was also, like, it wasn't bad, like, to the point of, I hated it, like, go figure a while ago. This was bad to the point that, like, I couldn't pay attention. It was, like, pulling teeth getting me to pay attention to this. I was like, oh my God, I don't care. Like, I didn't care about a single character because it was so paint by the numbers. It just was bad. And then Tim Curry, I was convinced Tim Curry could do no wrong. This was bad. He wasn't great as he's Tim Curry, so he's always fantastic. But, like, everyone was done dirty by this. There was no saving this, like I've said a couple times now. I just would not recommend. I had never heard of this, thank God. Thank God I had never heard of this. And now I had to watch it, so don't. Save yourself the time. Do not watch this. That's everything I have for Valiant. My final rating is 1 bird. Pigeon, I suppose, out of 10. Our total movie count is... Current death toll and crack counters are the same. If you want to keep up with movie watching, follow me on Instagram. You'll find out movie watching. I put up videos every Monday and Friday, sometimes Wednesday. Join Patreon. Have a tier starting at just $1 where you get a free coupon code for merch and every video a week early, but tiers above that you get daily trivia questions, weekly random facts, monthly podcasts, bonus content, vlog, you know, all the good things. Patreon requests. Go. Buy merch. Merch is great. Merch is grand. Until next time, comment, like, subscribe, and everyone in charge of your life. You are, so you do, and don't be Von Talon about it. Yo, this movie was also so bad, I barely paid attention, which I feel bad for, but it was boring.